Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown.
Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Yusuf. I'm here with my co-host Adam. We are at the Camp Nou. What a glorious moment, Adam. How excited are you? I know you've been here before, but it's
crazy,
been like
man.
5 years.
It's like a dream come true.
We're going to be here watching the game on Sunday live for our last game of the season. I'm pretty excited. My first time at the Camp Nou. It is beautiful here today. Maybe the lighting and the shade from
My name is Adam. I'm here with the Use.
What's up, guys?
We are back from Spain. Went to the Camp Nou, as you just saw on the previous video we had up. Use, here's the thing about our visit to the Camp Nou, and I've been there before, right? I think I was there in the year 2017. I watched us win the last game of the league season, where unfortunately we weren't able to win the league because Madrid had won it. And then I saw the Copa del Rey final, I think the last game ever at the Wanda Metropolitano, and saw Messi score and win a cup. But your first game, Use, and your second game, because we went to both the Getafe game 2 weekends ago and then the final game at the Camp Nou against Villareal, where we lost last weekend. Yours was horrible. So because Barca didn't score any goals and looked like absolute trash. So why don't we just go to the biggest event of the week for us? I met Pedri, right,
Yep.
which is just crazy. We'll put up the picture right here, but I had some very nice tickets to the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona, and the day before I was there in this section, and I had noticed, like, behind me, I was like, oh my God, that's Sergio Busquets taking a picture with some other people who were there as part of the Alfa Romeo team. And unfortunately, I was a little bit nervous. Busquets was there with his family, and I just didn't feel like interrupting him. And then the next day I come by, and I'm, like, walking to my section, and I see this, like, young Spanish guy walk by. I mean, I was like, oh, he had a nice haircut. And then I go, wait a minute, that was Pedri. Finally, he came back to sit down. I, got the courage to ask him to take a picture with me. He was super nice about it, and it was very awesome. So that, I think, was the highlight for me. What was the highlight for you, Yus? I think it might not have been a game, right?
No, it's definitely not. I mean, having us not score any goals was pretty bummer.
The tour, Yus.
That is true. The tour was very wonderful. We got to go to the Camp Nou and walk around the whole entire stadium. Got to see all the memorabilia, a lot of Champions League trophies. We had a whole section for Messi with his 6 Ballon d'Ors. Overall, just watching, as someone who has learned about this team over the last few years and like cumulatively gotten a lot of information, it was really cool to see these cases in which they had the history of the team going all the way back, Johan Cruyff, even the issues between Barcelona, or I should say the political issues that affected the team during that time. And as the team grew and grew, and then they showed the first ever Champions League under Ronald Koeman, and they actually had these very cool interactive screens in which you could also play like certain goals that players made, or they did a huge cinematic in which they just had some of the best moments of Barcelona. And one of the great ones, of course, was Messi's header. Just overall a great something you should do if you have not yet is
For sure.
visit it.
Totally, yeah. The tour was awesome. Like you said, they've done a really good job of kind of laying out the entire history of Barca, including all the different presidents and all the different phases, all the way, starting back with Joan Gamper and him coming to Barcelona and starting up the club, and then, throughout the decades and seeing, some of like the Dream Team and Koeman and Pep, and then all the way up to present time with Messi. It was really heartwarming to see how much of the club, was about Messi. I mean, I know he left, and of course, it wasn't really on bad terms on the Barcelona side.
You know what made me sad?
The money
was they had a video of Iniesta and his goodbye and his last moments at the Camp Nou, and then we didn't get that for Messi, man. And it was really sad.
That was definitely the glaring issue.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to Barcelona, you should definitely schedule the Camp Nou tour. From what I understand, it's best to do it not on the match day. So if you're going to go there and you're going to be there for a few days, you should take a separate day besides whenever you go and see a game to go on the tour, because it was really wonderful. I think the saddest part for me was seeing all those Champions League trophies and not seeing any after the treble in 2015. You think back to, like Anfield, especially, that was the worst one, of course, and made me a little bit sad, but also excited for, what the future can bring, and to see us, whenever that may be, in 2, 4, 6 years, hopefully not that long, get back to the Champions League and winning that trophy. It's going to be really awesome. And so, I love the tour. And then, let's hear your opinion, Yus, about the Camp Nou and the atmosphere, because I've been there before, and I kind of want to hear what your impression was.
Yeah, as I was kind of trying to get into there, was that the environment at the game is so much more lively. You hear all the fans chanting. Of course, you have the home side playing the drums and doing all the game chants. Yeah, and it just somehow it really puts you there, and you want to root for the team so much more. Even though they were playing awfully and we couldn't score a goal, I was really happy to be there. And I would say one other bummer was that I don't think Dembele didn't start the game. And I was really hoping, as the last game of the season, we'd get like a good 90 minutes from Dembele, maybe see him score a goal. It just overall was just a great experience. You have to experience it and just be sitting there with all the fans.
One thing we have to cover, too, is we went to Getafe, right? We went to their stadium. I think the Alfonso Perez Coliseum is what it's called, something like that.
Yep.
And it was out in the suburbs of Madrid, and it was a really cool experience. I mean, we'll put up some clips right now so you guys can kind of see what we experienced, but it was wonderful. I mean, it's a much smaller stadium, right? Camp Nou, we're looking at like 90,000 plus people, but the Getafe Stadium, we're looking at I think somewhere around 18,000, and so it was much more tight knit. We didn't really know this at the time. Somehow we just left our brains, but that game, it was actually pretty important for them to get the draw against Barca because it helped cement them not getting relegated. Yeah. And so after the game, you saw all the home fans just cheering and applauding their players and just being so happy. Even though the game again was pretty trash on both sides, but it was a really cool experience. I mean, I just loved how open it was. There was some worry, I guess, that we shouldn't wear our Barca stuff because maybe the fans will be hostile. We didn't know how it would be, but you go to a stadium like Getafe when Barca are in town, and there was Barca people all over wearing the hats, jerseys, and overall just very friendly fans, a totally respectful environment, which I appreciated.
Well, it's definitely cool to see the flip side of a team that is not very big, and that their fan base is completely different, obviously. But at the same time, you kind of feel a little more homey, right? You're not in this grandiose place. You get to everybody is kind of at the same level, to be honest. There's seats that are a little bit lower, more towards the field, and some that are not too much higher, but you can pretty much see everything you want to see during the game. And it was really cool to see them celebrate at the end, even though they were fighting relegation. But this is a small team. They're always fighting day in and day out, especially if they lose and they get kicked out of La Liga or the Premier portion of that. They lose so much money, so it's really crazy. And the only way these small teams can really start acquiring better players is to stay in the top league, right, and get that money, because of course it comes with TV rights and whatnot. But just a great experience. I'm glad we got to go to both, one away, one at home, and I think, I don't know, maybe it was like a 20-minute metro ride there, so it really wasn't that bad to get to from where we were staying in Madrid. And overall, just a wonderful experience. I would recommend that you guys all, even though it's Madrid, I'd recommend that you all go there and enjoy a Mahou, which is apparently the city beer that actually is really good.
Well, in contrast to the good vibes at the Camp Nou, the tour, and the Getafe Stadium, we'd be remiss without talking about just how absolutely awful Barca played in those last two games, sure. Man. The wheels have just been falling off. In the Getafe game, I think Lenglet and Mingueza had like the most passes on our side.
Don't remind me.
In the home game, Frankie de Jong looked bad. Gavi didn't look very good either. Busquets, Depay, Aubameyang, no matter who you saw on that. Ferran Torres, his one opportunity kicked right at the goalie. And so the wheels really fell off there at the end use. I mean, it's just such a crazy contrast from how we felt, probably when we beat Napoli and when we were, getting up to that Frankfurt leg, and we beat Atletico Madrid with 4 goals. We beat Real Madrid 4-0. Like, we were so happy and so proud of Xavi and how far the team came. And at the end of the season, you have to sit there and be like, okay, we started with Xavi in 9th in the league and we finished 2nd, which we should be very happy about because we cemented Champions League, and that was not always guaranteed back in like October. But Oh, I don't know if Xavi's tactics have been found out by the rest of the league. Even if you take the side that, okay, it's just because Pedri got hurt and he's such a big provider. I mean, it's not a good sign for us that like a 19-year-old Pedri is the guy who, if he's hurt, we just turn to complete crap. But man, it was like watching paint dry. And I think the thing that frustrated me the most is that it just really didn't seem like a lot of players wanted to play and compete, and they weren't trying very hard. That's the impression I got there live. And when you think about Memphis Depay, when you think about Aubameyang, when you think about Frankie de Jong, when you think about Dembele, right? You think about these players, not Torres, but when you think about those players I mentioned who are fighting to prove that they're worth it and that they should come back to the club next year and that, they're worth an investment, to put up the performances they did, I thought was just pretty pitiful, right? You can correct me if you're wrong, Yus, but I didn't feel like anyone there was really trying that hard to impress the fans, to impress the club, or to really, leave the season on a prideful note.
No, I don't think they did. I think in the Getafe game, which we drew 0-0, the only highlight was one shot on goal. And other than that, because I watched highlights after, just like, am I crazy? And I watched those highlights and I was like, wow, it was awful. This is just an atrocious play. It didn't seem like we had anything to give. It was like, we're content with the fact that we're solidified in second place for the end of the season. We don't have anything to fight for, right? And that there was no drive for them to compete for anything. And at the same time, it's like, well, you still have a whole next season ahead of you. This is a good time to try things out, press and look for things that you maybe couldn't try in games because there was more on the line at those times. But I don't know. Our lineup against Getafe was just not very good. We had Lenglet and Mingueza, like you said, in the back, and that's just, we would never play that. And I think we saw a full-time Ricky Puig in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, like someone like Ricky Puig is coming on the pitch. He hasn't had any time this season, really, so he should really be trying to step it up. And I didn't see it from anybody. I totally agree. And then the fact that we didn't.
And that's the weird thing is that the Getafe game, I understand they needed a point, right? They weren't playing with any sort of interest in like pushing or scoring. But the Villareal game, they came out there and just gave it to us in some of those counters, and they just were clinical with their finishing. Dani Alves kind of just passed the ball right in front of the net for their second goal, and so. Getafe, I can kind of understand if a team's playing negative and we're not able to do anything, but that game against Villareal, we just really got outclassed at home in our last game of the season. Just really left a sour taste in my mouth.
I will say...
Any other thoughts you have, Yus?
Yeah, I will say the only person that I really enjoyed watching was Araujo.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, but other than that, look, it is an awful end to the season, especially an awful... experience in which we didn't score any goals. I was really hoping for that. But, hey, look, I hope that, next year things will change because we are starting fresh. We're not digging ourselves out of a hole, and we have more to fight for because Real Madrid just obliterated the whole La Liga table, and there's no way we can let that happen again, especially after seeing that Camp Nou tour. There's so much to fight for and so much to prove, right? We're coming back from the loss of Messi, who has added so much to this team, has really changed everything. And I think, some of these young players like Pedri, who will be returning, Fati, who's just stepping back up, will, shine a light on the team. Hopefully, I think we're also signing Dani Alves. That's a side. But we need to figure out what we're going to do with some of these older players, who we're going to come in and bring to revitalize ourselves, because we have a lot to look at and a lot of things to work on, right?
Sure. And those will be things we cover in the next few weeks here, guys, as we ramp up our production. So thank you guys so much for your support. Please smash that subscribe button. Let us know in the comments if you have any thoughts or grievances about how the season ended, or any questions about our trip to Madrid or Barca. We'd love to talk to you guys about it. Thank you all so much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.